My loved one will never change. You ever heard that in your office before?
I've heard that in my office, and I've seen the despair that comes because, well, I'm stuck with them, or I've chosen them, or I've made a vow to God that I'm going to honor the commitments that I've made, but they don't ever seem to change. What do we do with that?
That's a tough one. I think obviously that's an issue for each individual case, because sometimes never changing means abusive, and we don't necessarily want to stay in an abusive relationship, but a lot of this could be more smaller things, maybe a little more petty things, and some of them might be serious things. But I think taking an inventory of what actually is the thing that they're not changing, and seeing, is that dangerous for me? How is this going to end out? Am I able to stay with this person for an extended period of time while I allow them to try to change? And so I think it's important to find out what it is that they won't change.
There's this incredible scene in The Lion King where the monkey hits the lion with the stick, and then he takes a minute, and then he swings the stick again, and the lion moves because he learned. Are there things that are going on that the people around you are doing that they keep doing, and yet you're still doing the exact same thing that you were doing that's causing you problems? Where can you learn, and where can you change? Maybe they don't have the capacity, maybe they don't have the awareness, but you're aware something needs to change. What can you do to help yourself? Help you do to help them?
Yeah, and also when you say maybe that they won't change, how do you know that? Have you talked to them about it, or is it just something that you just see them doing and you haven't said anything and you're just assuming they're not going to change? A lot of times having a conversation with them and saying, "Hey, this has to stop, because eventually I'm not going to be able to continue doing this." Has that been the conversation, or have you yelled at them or put them down for that thing? Because if somebody puts me down all the time for something, it's going to make me want to do it more, because that's just kind of the human way. And so how are you responding to this person? How are you holding them accountable? Is it loving and charitable, or is it mean and hateful?
A lot of times how you ask matters, and if you've been asking for them to change in a way that stirs them to do the opposite, well, they'll do the opposite. Sometimes when it comes to interpersonal psychology, it's about changing what you can change and accepting what you can't change. And a lot of times the things that you're seeing in someone that you love that's driving you crazy and you're desperate for it to change has always been there. You married it, you knew it was there, and reminding yourself that does it have to change is a pretty big question.
That is a good question. It kind of goes back to the first thing I said of, is it something serious? Is it something that's putting your life in danger, putting your kid's life in danger?
That
something like that. Yeah,
no
brainer. But if we're talking about things like, well, they just won't fold their underwear, something like that, who knows? But really, there are a lot of things that, like Kevin said, do they have to change? I know you want them to, and it might be better if it did, but I'm sure there's a lot of things that your spouse wants you to change too that you might not.
I've never had a session that did not produce some on both sides. Some merited, some unmerited, and some really petty. If you need help processing this and deciding what does and doesn't need to change in your life, give us a call.